World is One News on the Z Network. I'm Amitabh Ravi. It's just past 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and these are the day's top stories. The stage is set for the two newsmakers dominating world headlines. US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are in Singapore. The two are set to meet on Tuesday to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. The North Korean leader meets Singapore's Prime Minister. Kim Jong-un says he believes Singapore's role will be recorded in history if the summit with President Trump is successful. WION brings you ground reports from the venue. India is the only member nation to refuse to endorse China's Belt and Road Initiative in the 10-page Qingdao Declaration. New Delhi has always questioned the Belt and Road Initiative through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The world's top 7 industrialized nations are fighting over trade and tariffs. There is no agreement at the G7 summit. US President Donald Trump rejects the joint statement, slamming protectionism, and hits out at Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. A show of solidarity. Tens of thousands of people from Spain's Basque region join hands to form a human chain running 202 kilometers. They're demanding the right to hold a regional independence vote. And it's a cat this time. Ahead of the World Cup, the Oracle is back to predict the winner of the FIFA World Cup. US President Donald Trump and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un are in Singapore for the much-anticipated summit between the two leaders. President Trump flew in on board Air Force One a few hours after Chairman Kim touched down. Their meeting, the first between a leader from the North and a sitting US president, will take place on Tuesday on the resort island of Sentosa. The US president has described the summit as a one-time shot for Pyongyang at peace and said the two leaders were in unknown territory. The US hopes the summit will kickstart a process that eventually sees Chairman Kim give up nuclear weapons. The North Korean leader says he believes Singapore's role will be recorded in history if the summit with President Trump is successful. Singapore is only the third country that Kim Jong-un has visited since he became leader in 2011. The North Korean leader is scheduled to meet President Trump at 9 a.m. local time on Tuesday to talk about ending his country's nuclear program and transforming the state, which has been under harsh international sanctions for its arms program.
Right behind me across the road is the St. Regis Hotel, where North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is putting up here in Singapore. He arrived in Singapore on Sunday afternoon for Tuesday morning summit meeting with Donald Trump. And there's a posse of journalists stationed here on either side of the road, with a large contingent of foreign media also stationed here to catch every glimpse of the entourage of Kim Jong-un driving in and out of the St. Regis Hotel. I'm told there are 3,000 foreign media here in Singapore as we speak to cover every minute detail of the Trump-Kim summit. As you can see, foreign media personnel are stationed all along the road leading up to the St. Regis Hotel, which is barely a few blocks away from the Shangri-La Hotel, where Donald Trump and his entourage will be putting up. This should give you a flavor of the media attention that is being devoted to the Trump-Kim meeting. And there is high security in and around the St. Regis Hotel, where Kim Jong-un is putting up. As you can see, barricades have come up all around the roads leading to the venue. And bystanders and tourists are being dissuaded from venturing anywhere close to the St. Regis Hotel. We're given to understand that Kim Jong-un has already met with Prime Minister of Singapore And this was a courtesy call on the Singapore Prime Minister, who is the host country for the Trump-Kim summit. With video journalist Mukesh Sankla, I'm Ramesh Ramajan reporting for WION from Singapore.
Pope Francis has said he hopes that the summit will lead to peace. The Pope has sent to the people of Korea a special thought of friendship and prayed that the talks can contribute to the development of a positive path that guarantees a peaceful future for the Korean peninsula and for the whole world.
I colloqui che avranno luogo nei prossimi giorni a Singapore possano contribuire allo sviluppo di un percorso positivo che assicuri un futuro di pace per la penisola coreana e per il mondo intero. Per questo preghiamo il Signore e tutti insieme preghiamo la Madonna, Regina della Corea, che accompagni questi colloqui.
Ambassador Vishnu Prakash joins us now. He has served as envoy, Indian envoy to Canada, more importantly to South Korea. He's also been the official spokesperson of the Foreign Ministry. Ambassador Prakash, a pleasure that you're joining us on the show. Thank you so much. Good evening. Now, many would say that whatever the outcome of this summit, President Trump will be looking for a headline, but in many ways, Kim Jong-un has already got what he wanted.
Well, Kim Jong-un has indeed got what he wanted. He wanted the big prize. For the last 70 years, the North Korean leadership has been seeking a face-to-face meeting with the American president. And now one can say with a reasonable amount of certainty that at least the summit will happen.
Ambassador Prakash, now what the Americans want, CVID, complete, verifiable, irreversible disarmament, nuclear disarmament. But that's the crux on which the DNA of Kim Jong-un for his survival, for his regime survival.
Very much so, but I think the US has since understood, they have factored it in that CVID is not happening. Already President Trump is on record to have said that it's a process. And now that, and I have a feeling, while nobody can say with certainty as to what will be the outcome, that some kind of an outcome has already been scripted, because back channels have been very active, they have been working, and President Trump will not arrive in Singapore without some kind of an outcome being scripted. I don't think CVID will happen. There could be a promise towards complete denuclearization in the future, and perhaps that will enable the American side to declare victory. But let's face it, as far as North Korea is concerned, the weapons of mass destruction, the nuclear nuclear devices in particular are a guarantee or an insurance for regime survival, and they will not give it up.
They will not give it up. Well, one person who is on President Trump's entourage is the National Security Advisor, John Bolton, who made those remarks vis-a-vis Libya and Muammar Gaddafi, which upset the North Koreans tremendously. There were some reports that he might not even travel there, but he will be there. The positioning in terms of the American positioning with both Mike Pompeo and John Bolton being there, how will the North Koreans be seeing that?
Well, reading between the lines and also as per the American media reports, it seems that there has been a fallout between Mike Pompeo and John Bolton. Mike Pompeo and John Bolton were on the same page at one point in time, but John Bolton has not directly been engaged with the negotiation process. Mike Pompeo has twice, in April and in May, been to Pyongyang. Both the times he has met with Kim Jong-un. He is invested now deeply in the process, and I think he is the key interlocutor as far as President Trump is concerned, who has must have assured President Trump that Kim Jong-un means business, and the hasty withdrawal by President Trump and within 24 hours restoring the summit is also indicative of the fact that the John Bolton advice has not been acceded to. And thereafter, when the summit was restored, one could see, and it was stated also, that there was a change in the American tune, a change in the American position, and for the first time, American side started talking about it as a process. President Trump also said that it will take many meetings for the solution to be found, or words to that effect. So yes, John Bolton is on board, but I think at this time the key advisor is not John Bolton but Mike Pompeo, and my gut feeling is that given how summits are structured, and also let's face it, Amitabh, that President Trump is in a bit of a bind, because he has antagonized practically every important world leader. The EU he has antagonized, Canada he has antagonized, with Iran he has picked up a fight, with China he has picked up a fight, and now he travels all across for a summit meeting with Kim Jong-un. He, I don't think, can afford a failure.
He can't afford a failure.
He is very much invested.
Right, Ambassador, I just want to take up from your point there and bring you to the G7 summit and what happened there. Now, President Trump, one of his economic advisors, has gone on record, in fact, to say that one of the reasons why President Trump went early, wasn't there for the joint communique, and had the kind of attitude that he had, was that he didn't want to appear in a weaker position at this summit. Is that something that you would agree with?
Weaker position vis-a-vis the Kim-Trump summit?
Correct.
With North Korea? Well, yeah, I mean, his arrival on Sunday does not mean that his position vis-a-vis North Korea has been strengthened. I don't think that he wanted any longer to be at Quebec City for the G7 summit, for the reasons that have been reported quite extensively. He has also disassociated himself with the outcome document of the G7 summit. And frankly, it is unusual for the American president, given their very tight schedules and given their the huge array of commitments, to arrive at a summit 1.5 days in advance. But the very fact that he has arrived on Sunday, I don't think that would signify anything in particular. But I would again like to believe or say that President Trump has gone too far down the line to now declare that as a failure, because he I think will have he'll receive a lot of flack, because as it is, the international media, the Western media, the friendly media, or let's say the Western media in particular, and the American media, have been saying that Mr. Trump has been very impulsive at jumping into the summit. Any US president could have had the summit, and now I think it will be very important for President Trump to declare victory and to come out saying, look, I said I did it, I will do that, and look, I've done that. And I think the ground has been paved for it.
Declaring victory, we've seen American presidents do that in the past in so many different ways, saying mission accomplished. Could he look for just the very minimum, which is a peace treaty being agreed to? Because the US and China have to be on board there.
Yes, very much so. I mean, already China will be very ROK is on board. China will be very happy to see a peace treaty. That has already been, and the American position also is that a peace treaty should happen. So, I mean, look, if one were to look at the possible elements of, as you very rightly said, quote unquote victory. I mean, the US has declared victory in Afghanistan, in Iraq. So let's say if they want to declare victory, peace treaty could be one element, and understanding on denuclearization, or let's say complete denuclearization in principle could be another. Already they could ask North Korea to make some more gestures in terms of starting to dismantle their infrastructure. So, I mean, there could be many things that could be done to say, for President Trump to go public to say, look, it has never happened, I've done that. And, you know, I brought them to agree to this, that, and the other. The bottom line, Amitabh, as you and I know, and the world knows, and America, even the American leadership of the day has begun to accept more or less publicly, but obliquely, is that given the massive trust deficit, CVID will not happen upfront. What nobody is saying is that CVID may not happen, but a freeze could happen. Monitoring of the assets under IAEA safeguard could happen. Freeze could happen. I mean, so many things can happen. But CVID, I will like to bet that will not happen.
You're talking about President Trump and the world. Very briefly, Ambassador, Kim Jong-un, 5 months earlier, we would never have dreamt that this would be where we were. How he's changed world perceptions, world leaders from what they thought and described what he was to what they describe and think he is now. Is he playing China or getting more points with China by doing what he's doing now with the US?
Well, the transformation of Kim Jong-un from quote-unquote a bloodthirsty dictator to a humanized statesman, as I think BBC report has said, is unprecedented. That is one. I am in complete agreement with you on that point. Kim Jong-un has single-handedly wrested control of the narrative from everybody, and he has changed the narrative virtually overnight. So as far as his political or nimble-footed diplomacy is concerned, full marks to him. Now, China has been caught napping, I would like to say, in this particular case, and China was very happy when they had not cared to invite him for 7 years, but immediately an invitation was extended when it became clear that the inter-Korean summit will happen. The US-North Korean summit was likely. So twice Kim Jong-un has been to China to have FaceTime or interaction with President Xi Jinping. President Xi Jinping has already indicated, or it has been reported, that President Xi Jinping will be visiting North Korea. So the shots are clearly being called by Kim Jong-un. And I mean, look at this. On the 31st of December, he was a pariah. As we speak today, on the 10th of June, the world leaders are almost vying with each other to either invite him or to go there. Already President Putin has invited invited Kim Jong-un to visit Moscow. So there has been, even I cannot think of a more simpler word than transformation in the image of North Korea, likes of which are very, very rare in human history.
Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and perspective on that. It was a pleasure having you on the show.